Have you ever noticed that the moment you start feeling happy again, the narcissist suddenly reappears? It's almost eerie, isn't it? You've fought through the darkness, rebuilt your life, and finally feel like yourself again. The pain, the confusion, the endless self-doubt, they're in the rear-view mirror now. You're moving forward, and then, out of nowhere, you get that message, a text from an unknown number, an email, a random encounter. But why? Why do they always come back right when you're finally healing? Here's the harsh reality. A narcissist doesn't miss you. They miss the control. They can't stand the fact that you're happy without them. Your peace, your joy, your independence. It's like a slap in the face to their fragile ego. And they'll do whatever it takes to pull you back into their web. Today, I'm going to expose the brutal truth about how narcissists react to your happiness, the manipulative tactics they use to suck you back in, and how you can once and for all protect your peace. Because once you see through their game, you'll never let them win again. So you did it. You walked away. Or maybe they discarded you first, left you shattered, confused, drowning in a sea of unanswered questions. Either way, the relationship is over. And at first, that feels like freefall. The weight of their presence is gone, but so is the illusion of security they created. You feel lost, disoriented, maybe even regretful. Not because you want them back, but because your entire reality has been shaken. You were conditioned to believe that the chaos was normal, that their love, if you could even call it that, was the only version of love available to you. And now you're left in the ruins, trying to make sense of the damage. Being with a narcissist is like being addicted to a toxic substance. Their manipulation works in cycles. Love bombing, devaluation, discard. They made themselves the center of your world, flooding your system with dopamine and cortisol, pleasure and stress, in constant rotation. And like any addiction, when it's gone, the withdrawal hits hard. At first, you might feel restless, anxious, even physically unwell. Your mind replays old conversations, dissecting their words, searching for meaning. Did I overreact? Did I not try hard enough? What if they were right about me? This is the cognitive dissonance talking, the psychological war between what you know to be true and what you were manipulated into believing. It's the same reason people stay in toxic relationships far longer than they should. Your brain doesn't just crave the person, it craves the pattern. And that's exactly what they were counting on. A breakup with a narcissist is unlike any other breakup. You're not just mourning the loss of a person, you're mourning the loss of an illusion. You grieve the version of them they pretended to be, the potential of what the relationship could have been. The sweet words, the grand gestures, the deep conversations that made you feel seen and understood. None of it was real, and coming to terms with that is devastating. You might even feel shame. Ashamed that you fell for it, that you ignored the red flags, that you tolerated the abuse. But here's the truth. You weren't foolish. You were manipulated. Narcissists are master illusionists. They mirrored your deepest desires, your hopes, your vulnerabilities. They became exactly what you needed. Not because they loved you, but because they wanted control. And now that you're gone, the illusion shatters. The person you thought they were, that person never existed. Time passes. The anxiety doesn't grip you as tightly. The late-night urges to check their social media start to fade. You begin to see things clearly, not just the relationship, but yourself. You realize that you were never the problem. You realize that love isn't supposed to feel like a battlefield. You realize that you didn't lose them. They lost you. And for the first time in a long time, you feel something you almost forgot existed. Freedom. But here's the part no one warns you about. This is also the phase where they try to come back. Because they can feel it. They can feel that you're slipping from their grasp, that their control is fading, that you are no longer a puppet in their game. And that's when the real test begins. Stay with me, because in the next part we'll uncover exactly why narcissists come back right when you start to heal, and how to make sure they never succeed. finally, you are free. You might think that once a narcissist discards you, or you finally find the strength to walk away, they would vanish, quickly replacing you, just as they once replaced your needs with their own interests. After all, weren't they the ones who made you feel insignificant? Weren't they the ones who treated your pain like nothing more than an inconvenience? So why do they come back just as you start to reclaim your happiness? Why don't they show up when you are drowning in grief, desperate for answers, trapped in self-doubt, but instead they appear when you begin to stand tall again? This is not a coincidence. This is not fate. This is control. A narcissist does not return because they love you. They do not return because they feel remorse. They return because your happiness is an unforgivable insult, a direct challenge to the reality they have constructed in their mind. To them, your pain was proof of their power. Your desperation was evidence of their importance. As long as you were suffering, still thinking about them, still questioning whether they ever truly loved you, they remained relevant in your life. But your happiness? In their eyes, that is the ultimate betrayal. It signals something a narcissist cannot accept, that they were never essential. To understand why a narcissist cannot stand to see you happy, you must first understand that they never truly saw you as an independent person. A narcissist does not enter relationships to love, to grow, or to build something meaningful. They enter relationships to control. Dr. Craig Malkin, a clinical psychologist and author of Rethinking Narcissism, explains that narcissists rely entirely on external validation to sustain their self-worth. They do not generate confidence from within. They extract it from the reactions of others. When you suffered over them, they felt important. When you longed for them, they felt powerful. But when you start to find happiness, you shatter that illusion. Your ability to move on, to rediscover joy without them, to reclaim your identity. This is something they cannot tolerate. Because if you can be happy without them, then they must face a truth they cannot accept, that they were never as important as they believed. In psychology, there is a term for what happens when a narcissist's ego is threatened: a narcissistic injury. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a leading expert on narcissistic personality disorder, describes this as a deep psychological wound that occurs when a narcissist is forced to confront the fact that they are not as special as they believed. Your happiness and freedom are the greatest narcissistic injury of all, and that is why they return. Not because they care, not because they have changed, but because they cannot allow you to escape their control. A narcissist always expects to leave a permanent mark on you. They believe that no matter how much time passes, a part of you will remain emotionally tied to them, whether through pain, longing, or unresolved questions. They assume their absence will haunt you, that their departure will be an open wound you will never fully heal. But when they see you happy, truly happy, free from their influence, untouched by the ghosts of the past, it sends a shockwave through their fragile ego. At first, they may deny it. They tell themselves that you are faking it, that your happiness is an act, that deep down you are still suffering without them. But as time passes and they continue to see you thrive, an unsettling realization creeps in. You have moved on, and that? That is something a narcissist cannot tolerate. Phase 1. Discrediting your happiness. The first reaction of a narcissist is to invalidate your happiness. They cannot allow themselves to believe that you are genuinely doing well without them. Because if you are, then it means they were never as important as they thought. So, they begin to sow doubt. Sometimes they do this directly, whispering poison into your ear, and other times they use flying monkeys, mutual friends or acquaintances, to carry their message. Oh, do you think you're happy? Let's see how long that lasts. I heard your new relationship isn't as perfect as you make it seem. You always were good at pretending. Are you really happy or just trying to prove a point? Their words are not meant to uncover the truth. Their words are weapons, designed to plant a seed of doubt, to make you second-guess your own joy, to make you wonder if maybe, just maybe, they are right. Because if they can make you question yourself, even for a moment, they still hold a fragment of control. Phase 2. Rewriting the narrative. If they can't convince you that your happiness is fake, they will try to take credit for it. A narcissist cannot stand the idea that you rebuilt yourself despite them, that you became stronger not because of their influence, but because you finally removed them from your life. So they twist the story. You wouldn't be this strong if it weren't for me. Everything you've learnt, you learned from being with me. You should be thanking me. I made you better. This is manipulation at its finest. They want you to believe that in some twisted way, your happiness is their accomplishment, that even in their absence, they still played a role in shaping who you are. But the truth is, your happiness did not come from them, it came from escaping them. Phase 3. Trying to reinsert themselves into your life. When undermining and rewriting the past don't work, a narcissist moves to their most dangerous tactic, trying to pull you back in. This is where hoovering begins, the manipulative attempt to suck you back into their world just when you've begun to move on. It starts subtly, a harmless-seeming text, a like on an old post, a message that seems casual but is carefully crafted to trigger an emotional response. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I miss our conversations. I hope you're doing okay. If you ignore them, they escalate. Suddenly they have an emergency only you can help with. Suddenly they are the victim. Suddenly they are appearing in places where they know you'll be. A narcissist does not return because they love you. They return because they cannot stand the idea of losing control over you. Once they have forced their way back into your awareness, whether through an innocent-seeming message, a staged coincidence, or a sudden fabricated crisis, they do not stop there. They have cracked open the door, and now they will do everything in their power to wedge it wide open. At first, they test your emotional availability. They gauge your response. If you answer their message, if you acknowledge their presence, even in frustration, they see it as an invitation. If they sense even the smallest bit of hesitation, they exploit it. And if you remain indifferent, they intensify their efforts. Suddenly they are remorseful. They claim they've changed. They have had time to reflect, to see the error of their ways. They say they have learned their lesson, that they finally understand what they did to you. They offer apologies they never gave before, ones carefully crafted to sound exactly like the closure you once craved. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I finally realize how much I hurt you. I was blind to how much you loved me, and I took you for granted. I hate myself for it. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I let you go. I'll never forgive myself. The words feel heavy, deliberate, different from the past dismissals and gaslighting. They sound like the transformation you once begged them to have. But this is not real growth. This is bait. They are not apologizing because they feel genuine remorse. They are apologizing because they need you to believe that this time will be different, and if regret does not soften you, they pivot, they play the victim. They tell you they are lost without you, that life has been unbearable, that they are drowning in regret. They paint themselves as broken, misunderstood, desperate for another chance. I haven't been the same since you left. No one understands me like you do. You were my person. I don't know how to go on without you. I need you. They weaponize your compassion, knowing that your kindness has always been one of your greatest strengths and weaknesses. They want to make you feel responsible for their well-being, because if they can convince you that they are suffering, they know you might let them back in, not because you love them, but because you feel guilty for abandoning them. But if your heart does not waver, if you stand firm, they switch strategies again. This time, they provoke. They suddenly appear happier than ever. They post about their amazing new life, their newfound peace, their sudden transformation. Perhaps they hint at a new relationship, something just vague enough to stir doubt within you. Real tranquility. I've finally met someone who truly sees me for who I am. Life has been so good lately. I finally feel like I'm where I'm meant to be. I hope you're happy. I've moved on. and I hope you have too. But this is not about moving on. This is about making you doubt whether you ever truly mattered to them. They want to plant insecurity in your mind, to make you wonder if you were so easily replaceable, to make you compare yourself to whoever they are pretending to be happy with now. And if you react, if you show any sign that you are bothered, they win. And if jealousy doesn't work, they escalate further. They create chaos. They start spreading rumors, twisting narratives, painting you as the villain. They stir drama with mutual friends, ensuring that no matter how much distance you've put between you and them, their presence still lingers in your life. They manufacture a crisis, something dire, something urgent, something that forces you to acknowledge them. They know you are a good person, that you have a heart, that you once cared, and they use that against you. Because to a narcissist, being hated is better than being forgotten. They do not hoover because they miss you. They hoover because they cannot accept that they no longer matter to you. They do not want you back. They want to know that they still have power over you. And the only way to truly win is to not engage at all. Because the moment you react, the moment you let them back into your thoughts, even for a second, they have succeeded. But the moment you refuse to acknowledge them, when their words, their actions, their desperate attempts at control no longer affect you, that is when they truly lose. So the question is, what will happen if you keep playing their game? The moment you answer, the game shifts. At first, it will seem harmless. They will act surprised, almost hesitant, as if they weren't expecting you to respond. They might play it cool, keeping the conversation light and casual, as if they are simply reaching out with no ulterior motive. But make no mistake, this is not an innocent reconnection. This is a carefully orchestrated maneuver, and you have just stepped into their trap. They start slow. They ask how you've been, how life has been treating you. They listen, they validate, they show interest in ways they never did before. They seem different, softer, more self-aware. They avoid any topics that might stir up old wounds. Instead, they keep it warm, nostalgic, making you remember the good times, making you feel like maybe, just maybe, they are not the same person who once broke you. Then they test the waters. They slip in subtle compliments, little reminders of the past, hints of regret. I've missed talking to you. It's not the same with anyone else. I didn't realize how much I valued our connection until I lost it. I think about you more than I'd like to admit. They make you feel special again. They reignite that old familiarity, the feeling that maybe they did care, that maybe there's still something left between you. And if they sense even a flicker of openness in you, they push further. Soon, the nostalgia deepens. They remind you of inside jokes, of moments you once shared, of things only the two of you would understand. They paint your past in soft golden light, filtering out the pain, making you question whether it was really as bad as you remember. They tell you they have changed, that they see things clearly now. They talk about growth, about mistakes, about how they have learned their lesson. I see now how much I hurt you, and I hate myself for it. You deserved better, and I wasn't mature enough to realize it at the time. I've done a lot of self-reflection, and I finally understand what love really means. But this is not self-awareness. This is tactical deception. They are not coming back because they want to make things right. They are coming back because they cannot accept losing control over you. Once they have successfully disarmed you, they begin to reclaim their power. You will notice a shift. It's subtle at first. The messages take longer to arrive. The warmth they used to pull you back in begins to fade. They become slightly distant, slightly unpredictable, slightly harder to reach. The roles start reversing. You find yourself wondering what they are thinking, questioning if they truly meant what they said, analyzing their words like you once did before. And just like that, you are back in their cycle. They make you crave their validation again, make you feel uncertain, make you wonder if you were foolish for letting them in, or foolish for ever letting them go. They keep you emotionally unsettled, just enough to ensure that they still have an influence over you. Then they strike. One day, out of nowhere, they withdraw. No explanation, no reason. Just a sudden change in tone, a lack of enthusiasm, an emotional coldness that wasn't there before. You find yourself trying to understand what went wrong. Did you say something? Did you do something? Were you too eager, too distant, too available, too closed off? And that is exactly where they wanted you. They wanted to pull you back into chasing them, because as long as you are thinking about them, questioning yourself, wondering if you still matter, they win. And just like that, you are right back where you started. But this time, you know better. Now that you see the game for what it is, you must make a choice. You can let them pull you back into the cycle, back into self-doubt, back into emotional chaos, or you can break free once and for all. And to do that, you must recognize that a narcissist's power over you was never real. It was always an illusion, one built on your empathy, your kindness, your need for love and connection. They never had control. They only manipulated your desire to see the best in them. The moment you stop seeking closure, stop analyzing their words, stop wondering what could have been, you take away their last remaining power. And that is where your true freedom begins. One, no contact is not just a rule, it's a boundary between you and manipulation. The only way to ensure a narcissist never entangles you again is absolute no contact. Not a single text, not a single response, not a single glance at their social media. No just checking in, no I need closure, no one last conversation. They do not deserve a final word. They do not deserve a graceful exit. They lost the right to your energy the moment they made you question your worth. Block them, delete them, remove every pathway they have to re-enter your world. This is not being petty. It is self-preservation. If full no contact is not possible because of shared responsibilities, practice grey rocking. Be emotionally unresponsive, neutral, and uninteresting. Give them nothing. No reaction, no emotion, no access to your inner world. Because a narcissist cannot manipulate what they can no longer reach. Two, guard your peace like it's your most precious possession. The narcissist's goal is not always to win you back. It is to shake your peace, to make sure you are never fully free of them. They don't need you to love them again. They just need to know they still occupy space in your mind. Do not let them. Guard your happiness as if it is sacred, because it is. If mutual friends bring them up, change the subject. If curiosity tempts you to check their social media, remind yourself that nothing you find there will bring you peace. Their posts, their words, their actions, everything they do is designed to provoke a reaction. Don't give them one. Your indifference is your greatest weapon. When they see that their name no longer sparks emotion in you, that is when they truly lose. Three, remember who they really are, not who they pretend to be. When they hoover, they show you the version of themselves they want you to believe in, the one who has changed, who has matured, who finally sees your worth. But that person is a mask. The real version of them is the one who made you question yourself, the one who manipulated you, the one who drained you emotionally and made you feel like you were never enough. Never forget that. Keep a written reminder if you need to. A journal entry, a letter to yourself, a list of the ways they hurt you. Read it whenever doubt creeps in. Because nostalgia will lie to you. Time will soften memories, making you forget how much they stole from you. But the truth is, the person they were at their worst is the person they will always be. Four, heal so they can never use the same wounds against you again. The reason a narcissist was able to manipulate you was not because you were weak. It was because you were human. You wanted love. You wanted connection. You wanted to believe in them. And they took advantage of that. But now you have a choice. You can stay in that cycle, allowing them to exploit the same wounds over and over, or you can heal so they never have access to them again. Healing does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending it didn't happen. It means learning from it, growing stronger because of it, and using that pain as fuel to build a life so full of peace and self-worth that no narcissist will ever have the power to shake it again. It means learning what real love looks like. Love that does not require suffering. that does not drain you, that does not make you question your worth. Because the real victory is not just escaping them, it is building a life where they no longer exist. Not in your thoughts, not in your heart, not in your future. That is how you win. That is how you stay free. A narcissist will never change, no matter how convincing their apologies sound, no matter how much they claim to have grown, no matter how desperately they swear that things will be different this time. They are still the same person who broke you. They are the same person who made you question your worth, the same person who played with your emotions, the same person who only came back because they could not bear to see you happy without them. They do not return out of love. They return out of fear. Fear of irrelevance, fear of losing control, fear of facing their own emptiness without you to reflect back their illusion of importance. But their fear is not your responsibility. Your healing is not theirs to undo. You owe them nothing. Not a conversation, not closure, not even acknowledgement. The person you once were, the one who gave them endless chances, who held on to hope, who believed in their potential, that person no longer exists. You have outgrown them, and now the only thing left to do is walk away for good. Not with anger, not with regret, but with absolute indifference. Because when a narcissist realizes they no longer have power over you, when they see that their words no longer reach you, when they are left standing in the shadows of a life they can no longer touch,